shit. Now, we're going to have the open reading, but I have some upcoming events, and I'm not operating at full speed because I left my list of upcoming events over there. But I'll try to do it from memory, and I'll give you just a few. Today being the 6th, we have 2 brand new poetry readings coming up on the 12th. All right, now get this. Teresa Costa is having a new series up in Kingston on Broadway, and that is at the Art Bar Gallery. She has featured poets and open mic coming up on the 12th at 7 o'clock. I believe it's 674 Broadway. It's easy to find. It's called the Art Bar Gallery. It will be second Thursdays at 7 o'clock. She's looking for featured poets. The first featured poet there, I think, is Matt Spearing. He's on perpetual tour, I hope. So that's coming up on the 12th. Or, if you don't want to go all the way up to Kingston, you can go over to Orange County, and we have the, what is it, Stella's Frozen Yogurt? I think it's the name of a place, and the flyers are over there. But that's 6 Depot Street in Washingtonville. So for you Orange Countyans, there's a new poetry open mic. She will eventually have featured poets. Ariana Den Blaker, a young lady who has not been on the poetry scene for about nearly 2 years. She's back, and she decided to try her hand at hosting a series. And I will be there in the first night to provide some technical psychosis. So that's coming up also on the 12th, and we can move ahead and invite you to the return of Mud Puddle. Yeah, there we go. Up in New Paltz at the Water Street Market, 10 Main Street. That is a series that has been, we're coming into our 12th year, okay? 12 years, imagine that. And the management has not given me the boot yet. So the point is, the sneaker. Well, not in March, but let me tell you this. On the first full day of spring, we shall be there at 7 o'clock. That's Mud Puddle Cafe. Featured poets from Saugerties. Come on down to Guy Reed. And you know Guy, he's a terrific poet.
He's a good one.
He is. I hope so. And that's getting old. But we all use it. Hey Guy, you want to read? But the thing is, I'm bringing in a poet for the first time. Well, he's not a new poet, but Bill Wonder. He's coming up from Philadelphia. And Wunder or Wonder, I don't know how he pronounces it, but I've read some of his work. It's interesting, and I'm connected. I know. I'm connected to the Fox Chase poets down in Philly now, so all right. Last one, because the flyers tell more than I can dare. The last one is Ted Gill's series over at the Goshen Methodist Church, Main Street in Goshen in Orange County. There is such a place. And the featured poet is Franklin Schneider, coming up on the 30th of March at 7 o'clock, Goshen Methodist Church, Main Street in Goshen, New York. Now, that's that. Oh, wait. Mona did ask me to mention this. Here's the problem with this flyer, Mona. It says, Out of the Eggs of Ants, Poems for an African Sketchbook, a multimedia poetry reading and book signing event, March 28th, 1 p.m. until 3 p.m. Where the hell is it? Oh, okay. It says sponsored by Middletown Thrall Library, but it need not be in the Thrall Library, so it is in the Thrall Library. Thank you. I didn't want to, well, you know, it could be at the, and yeah, Ed Fisher is the moderator, the leader. I mean, the leader. He's the reader. I thought it was a workshop. So this is a special event with Ed Fisher. Some of you know Ed Fisher. He's one of the Hudson River Poets. Go to Thrall Library in Middletown on the 28th at 1 o'clock to hear him. 28th. Thank you. Also, this is what Mike Dracovic gave me. 1 poem a day won't kill you. It will move you, inspire you, and make you smile. Phillipstown.info invites you to precipitate in our 2nd annual celebration of April as National Poetry Month. And you can, I'm not going to read all this. So look. This is worth it. Check it out. I'll give it to you one more time for your displeasure. Poetry at phillipstown.info. Check it out. It won't kill you. So, there you go. Now, what?
Are you sure it won't kill me?
Are you asking me if I'm a stick of deodorant? Am I sure? No. What was that Tom Waits said? Poetry is a dangerous word.
What doesn't kill you makes you horny.
Yes. What? No. No, don't. No. All right, now, The founder of the Calling All Poets series wants to come up and say a few things to you. Here he is, Jim Eve.
I want to say much.
Say something. Please remember, everybody, it's a 2-poem limit on the open mic. We will put you in an oubliette if you go over.
See, I get the bonus poem because I go first. Nobody else wanted to go first, so I had to break the ice. I do want to make one announcement. This is March, first Friday of the month, and this is the 16th year of Calling All Poets. All right. Dan was talking about haikus, and I'm going to start with a string of 3 haikus, 1 poem. Good night, sweetheart. I turn to your back, reach over and pull you close, closing the bed's void. You snuggle in tight, placing my hand on your breast, secured within me. I kiss your shoulder, letting sleep embrace us both. Off flies the Sandman. The next one is juxtaposition. And again, somebody mentioned cat, so here we go. A cat stalks a robin. A worm lies above ground. Feline and bird pounce. And scream. Sorry is a word that at times sounds so hollow, silence is shattered.
That's Jim Eve. You know him. He is the founder of our wonderful series, and some of us, myself included, have been coming to CAP since the first reading in March of 1999.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. Next we have one of the oldest person in the room, Christopher P. Gazint. Come on, Grandpa. There he is.
Thank you to Robert for expediting my reading. Unfortunately, I have to get out of here a little early. For the second straight month, unfortunately, I feel absolutely horrible reading poetry from a cell phone. I'd much rather have paper and ink, but my printer is out of ink. So this poem is called Energy. The trials of Hercules overcome, I now turn my attention to petty details in my little office atop the highest Alp, jotting down memoranda on my manual typewriter and attempting to piece together clues of the mystery that drops through the air like a dying crow. I observe a blue beam of energy floating in the atmosphere. It expands from zenith to nadir, north to south, east to west, encompassing every pain and torture, every joy and every magnificence. I take a tremendous leap of faith and release myself into its energies without saddle to hold me. My spirit is thus diffused throughout the universe, and I consist of particles of air breathed in by every monster and fairy, every angel and devil who walk the surface of this planet and every other to be found in whatever galaxies that may exist. Thank you. So for my second poem, I was going to read an incredibly depressing poem called For the Suicides, but I decided to go with a love poem instead.
Thank you.
This is for Robert, Robert Bastidas, that is not Robert Melby. Gets confusing when there are more than one Robert. This is for Robert, this is called Crossing Astoria Boulevard. And I wrote this for Valentine's Day. It's spitting snow as I cross Astoria Boulevard, with my lover's hand in my own, protecting me from the February cold. Vehicles come barreling down the road on the way to strange winter errands whose details shall never be known. It's just a short journey to the 7-Eleven, but when we return, we know that we are an institution. He shields me from the deep psychic pain thrust upon me by the devil himself. Imbued side by side with infinite love, a dichotomy to send one hurtling off the Brooklyn Bridge, like a post-war missile destined to doom humanity. Still, by night's end, I know I am bonded to one who loves me, and everything will be all right for all the times I shall cross Astoria Boulevard again and again. Thank you.
Take care, we'll see you. Be well. All right. Moving ahead. This cat is well, I have to put it this way, one of the tech wizards. That's all I can do. I don't know what the hell they're doing with that, but welcome Glenn Werner, and he also makes the flyers. Glenn.
Really doing more with the flyers these days than with the tech. Really, it's Larry that we have to thank for that. I'm going to attempt to invoke spring. What the cherry tree said. I want to do with you what spring does with the cherry trees. Pablo Neruda. Once stripped of that brief beauty you showered on me, I was left to mourn its loss through summer's burden, cling to its memory during autumn's insult, and long for the amnesia of winter. But oh, you always return. I resist the songs of those flattered and caressed to life by you. Then you dust me with warm light that toys my tips to spark despite myself. How green you make me, how lost in your bluster, deafened by the rustle of that with which you've adorned me, as you stroke through me in frenzy. You call me Sakura, tease 1,000 openings to flare, sticky, sweet, soft, and pink, made mad with the purr of 1,000,000 wings, their gentle licks and silken stings. I am lost in you again, only to shatter with a flurry to the shaded ground, as sure as the sun will jewel the wings of harpies that wait to strip me of my last mementos.
Wait.
Mm-hmm.
Overwhelming.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
That was really beautiful. Well done.
Now something a little more uplifting.
Does that?
Wings. One morning you wonder where you put them, knowing now they were most important after all. All the advantages you thought you gained required selfless betrayals that finished you, put you away in the same box you put them. Never to be opened except one day by your child, who will be amazed that you ever had them, and you will mourn their torn, brittle fabric, weathered too much to bother to keep. You sit up in your bed and wipe your eyes, put your feet on the floor and look for your slippers. Embrace the bad karma that will wash over you in countless battles and trials and consequence to balance your account and enable you. You will hurt and wonder if you're doing right, being fair to those who need you as you are, who trained you, broke you, made you in their image. Withdrawal breeds doubt like mold on your confidence. You stand up and get dressed, and as you brush your teeth, you remember how they felt and hope they are still capable. When you find them, you are disillusioned, for they need work. Why start a war with everyone who wants you to simply sleep? And sleep is easy and sensible. But they are beautiful, and their rightness still fits. And you find enfolded in the box you kept them the sword they yielded, and you hold it and see there is no doubt of victory in the battles ahead. Then, with your trials finally over, they will yawn, stretching even wider than you thought possible, to catch their tips in the waiting wind, and you will wonder why you ever bothered to let anyone keep you on the ground.
Right.
That was wonderful.
Dan, there's a copy of Coyote up here. Do you want it?
That was Mike's.
Oh, okay. I shall place it here. There we go. Yes, we have a long-term supporter of Calling All Poets. She is Raphael Kozak. Welcome.
Heard a lot of good poetry here tonight. It's good. D.H. Lawrence talked about the myth of America, and there is a myth of America, and it also involves the West, the frontier, right, the cowboy. So I had a lot of fun with that. There's a woman in the poem, but I think it's really about America. It's called Wild West Dirge. "Shoot me," she said, "before they come over the hill." With her last whiskey breath, she said, "Nice guitar." In fact, she had gotten caught in the strings of his guitar, just as she had always wished. And the notes were food and love and everything with many O sounds. The way mournful was beautiful, and tears were cowboys crying down her cheeks. And America was no kind of song, but every major chord gone minor, with blackbirds heavy in the branches, and freight trains lunging across prairies silent with snow. Such a stunning funeral. She was waked by buffalo, and little Annie Oakley's ghost grown thick in the waist. But her trigger finger shone silver, and the light of the corn moon hung down from heaven. And some cowboy's horse nickered in the dry stream bed when they found her body, the rose of her mouth amening such a gospel the Lord couldn't ignore. And I should say that that's sort of dedicated to Mike, because his influence is felt within that poem. This second one is a short one called Prophet. What does a contemporary prophet have to say, or know, or do? So, Prophet. I'm falling through, saving up, drowning down. I can't holler hopeful anymore. I drink dreams, magnify minutiae. I'm sinning in songs for all those who cannot ignore eternity, for all who are digging discernible graves. I'm shoring up against your gravitas. Comedians are the saddest people I know. Dorothea Lange said, art is an act of focus. Snap, click, you got it. You're looking at it. I will love you if you let me. Leave the mirror, turn the page. Words are crackers that crumble. We're expecting a monster storm. Ease into your skin. Pile the sandbags. The war's not over. We are the war. The trees stand up and whistle, and the sky, she rains. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next we have a man we haven't seen at CAPS in quite some time, although I saw him last night at Noble Coffee Roasters, Stephen Coyle.
Our first 20 years of the house we lived in for the last 35, we were fighting a battle, losing against mice and rats. We lived by a stream in New Windsor at Vales Gate. One summer, I was away at a training school with Xerox, one of the last classes, and what happened was I come home, my wife said, I have a surprise for you. I entered the house after a late dinner at Cosimo's. They had just recently opened at that time. I came in at Stewart in a little plane all the way from California. She leads me to the home. It's down in the basement by the computer room I usually work at then and now. And here's what had happened. It's called the cat's meow. 2 cats were let in. They are now family. The chore they win to hunt and kill stealthily. Now no mice get in. Cats outside stop them dead. They and I grin. Table morsels I feed them. Cats in and cats out. All is quiet in the walls. I am without worry of walls rotting out. Morning and night every day, cats come, cats go. Now I am glad to say that my house is so. Cats in and cats out. The low soothing meow soothes my insides. There was a lot more to that poem, but it would have been too long because I could not do the next one. Oh no, oh yes, okay. Oh, here we go. There is a man here called Larry Sansone. Who is this man? Sitting up and setting up the sound equipment, balancing amplitude modulation with that of frequency vibrations. He who uses squelch to limit the noise that poetry speakers and the various musicians produce. The noises that spoils the sound of clear, clean music and poetry. We listen to the words and rhymes, our hearts in the clouds and our feet on the ground. That's it.
Now, okay. So you see, the dilemma yesterday is that, like a rumor of war, there was a rumor of a large snowstorm. I wasn't there, but apparently south of here, what was it, Winter Storm Thor?
Yep.
Yeah, well, Hayden wasn't able to come up for his feature, so we'll reschedule him. But here he is tonight, Hayden Wayne.
That was supposed to be the blizzard of '88. I mean, what? Anyway, we have a very dear friend and family member, John Fitzpatrick, who's in the hospital with a brain clot. I dedicate this reading to him. I'm reading from an old friend, Neon, a street opera. It came in first nationally in '87, won 10,000. And then this came in second to the International Prague Opera Competition with 25,000 Deutschmarks. I'm just going to read. Sex maniac. Hey, want to get married? Shithead. With a bobble and a wiggle and a jiggle, bounce, 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 bounce. Well, aren't we perky? Bounce, 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 bounce. Stop. Red light.
Ooh, love the way you shift your weight. Lean on that hip, girl. Watch out for that pinstripe, standing cool and straight. He's looking down your dress, girl. What's that going to give a little thrill? Lean a shoulder forward so to fill the bill. Right. Turn your head away, you don't even care. Green light, now walk away like he ain't even there. Bounce, 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 bounce. Ooh, you probably wouldn't give me the time of day. I guess I sweat too much, that's what my mom would say. I love when you slide underneath your dress. If you knew what was on my mind, you'd say yes. I bet you're a type who needs lots of air, the cold, the wild, with nothing there. Maybe I should fake a fit and froth at the mouth and roll an eye a bit, one north and one south, and trip on a crack to get a better view, looking up your dress while the light passes through. I can almost hear the rhythm of your thighs. And then the barker appears. Nylon rubbing nylon, it brings tears to your eyes. I know you're walking down the street so careful, giving every girl the eye. I know you're copping a feel now and then, but with my girls, don't even try. The girls are sweet. Oh, so sweet. Believe me, I know every one. Certified, hand-picked, right from the vine. You better hear me when I'm talking, son. Don't you think that's a little bit foolish? Don't you think that you're pressing your luck? Don't you think things could get a bit ghoulish? So many sharp and pointy things you could get stuck on. If you catch my drift. I know you think that you're real smarty, living your life on the slide. You act like a big man, but you ain't that hardy. Whatever you had up and died. Oh, sure, the girls are ripe for picking, each one a juicy plum. But unless you pay for your sticky fingers, if I catch you, I'll break every one. Now, don't you think that's a little bit foolish? Don't you think that you're pressing your luck? Don't you think things get a bit ghoulish? So many sharp and pointy things you could get stuck on if you catch my drift. Whoa. What a hit. It's pure as the driven snow. Just like you. Yeah, right? What's the matter? Don't want to indulge in some of the fineries of life? Ooh. God, that burns. Only the best, my dear. Now don't you think you deserve that? Yeah, right? Ooh! You know, he's too wrapped up in himself to even know how lucky he is to have you around. Yeah, right? Yeah, right. Don't you hurt him? Why would I do that? You know damn good and why. You lied to me. No, I didn't. You just heard what you wanted to hear. How long you want to keep stringing him along? You're mine, you know. You think so? Yeah, I know so. You're the kind of girl who should give it a whirl in a limousine. Mind you, nothing obscene. But when your driver will pass, he will pass and he'll pass. Just think of the gas that black slick machine will consume as it lays out before you. The doorman implores you. So take his hand as he opens the door, reaching for you to take a firm hold. And you're dressed in the best silken furs as he helps you on through. How he purrs. Yes, darling. No, darling. Over here, darling. Oh, excuse me, darling. I'm telling you, this is some business. I bet your mom and daddy are real proud. You don't even know what it is to be in love. I'm in love right now. Yeah, right? Ever since the first time I saw you in Houston. Thank you.
What? Oh, so on behalf of Waden, I shall Anna's poem of you. Would you like to do a few lines of poetry with me? All right. Now, moving ahead, no one laughs. Let's welcome. Hey, he thought it was funny. Yeah. It's my sense of hummus. What do you want from me? I said that on purpose. I know. It's getting me back. Where is she? She is Marina Marti, one of the long-term supporters of our series. Marin. There you are, kid. There you are.
I found something from '84, just gave it a little bit of revision. And,
From
yeah.
the novel? George Orwell?
No.
All right.
Survival. The city has too many eyes. The glare draws me into its stagnant loins, expels me into the cold light of skyscraper moons. Without dreams I once held, a soft beat of wings. I walk towards my rented home, my rented room I call home out of desperation. The darkness of a widow's fist pounds the pavement. Where does my heart lie? A survivor of the impact of its own force. On a roof, the sun overhead, I dare myself to move into the world below. My spirit flesh slips over the edge, I pull it back. A pulse returns with a faint glow. Dolphin in a shallow Red Sea. Is there a shoreline within me to melt this steel desert? I climb into my home, worry the floors like prayer beads, listen to the winds. Enlighten me, love has been dark and I am so blind. Enlighten me, I can no longer contain this desire. Eyes are purged through my hands, my face is wet with sparks. I am alone. This is a little longer. I didn't want to read this. Anyway, and I read it at a salon and got a little encouragement. And it starts off about my mother, but it's not only about my mother. So don't go, oh God, it's a mother poem. That's how I would respond. Oh, jeez. Anyway, it's called. What's that? Okay, it's called Teachings. My mother taught me how to walk in heels. She didn't teach me to kick. My mother taught me to smile. She didn't teach me to question. My mother taught me to be alone. She didn't teach me solitude. My mother taught me vanity. She didn't like me. My father encouraged my independence. He didn't like rebellion. My father encouraged my talents. He discouraged my direction. My father made me listen. His voice buried mine. My father made me eat. He did not feed me. My brother brought the world home. I wasn't allowed in his room. My brother wrote for the college paper. I wrote for myself. My brother went to Paris. I defended against men on the subway. My brother argued with my father. I watched. My parents held to monogamy. I learned to suffocate need. My parents held to thrift. I learned to turn off want. My sister took care of my mother.
My mother worked for low pay. Her husband kept his unstable career and taught Gabriella to sing. Gabriella bought me a dress. I took care not to cause trouble. Trouble took me in. Trouble took me in so quietly I thought it would listen. Trouble took me in so softly I thought it was love. Trouble took me in with such a thrill I thought I was free. Trouble took me in so deftly I thought it was the only choice. Then trouble unmasked its gnarled face, led me to its room. A mirror there reflected a child alone. I broke away and went to her. She looked up and cried out, "My body is your body." I told her I have fierce adult legs. We kicked and didn't stop until the frame that held her was broken. She cried and she laughed, and I can breathe, and we kick and we breathe.
All right, moving ahead. We shall welcome back Maceo Whitaker. Welcome back.
Do you remember the Humpty dance? No?
No.
You really don't remember the Humpty?
You can do it.
I'll read the poem. It's called, there are three characters, Shakespeare, Queen Mab, and the Burger King from the Burger King commercials. And it's called Shakespeare Doing the Hump. Shakespeare loves burgers. Here we rage at BK, Mad, in the bathroom once again. Shakespeare regurgitates ground beef, mustard, and salty pickles to make room for you and me. Elizabethan Humpty, Shakespeare hip pivots to the bass. He wags his digits under the lukewarm tap water leaking from the caked faucet. People say you look like Francis Bacon on crack, Shakespeare, singing, "Do me, baby, I am glee," like a Parisian chef. This ain't French food though, just oil, spuds, and cowish chickenish delight. Fried fixings and sexy intestines. Gorge. Bloodlust turns to bunlust. Top 40 villain, you do, outdo, and undo mothers. Dig your rubber soles into the slippery tile. Huff this disinfectant into your nostrils. Let it boil. Sing along into the royal mop. Get busy. Get busy. I, the king of burgers, will dance with you, queen, and wish you a wave of the sea. As Shakespeare, all greasy forehead, all porn stash, shakes his ass to the Humpty dance. And this one, excuse the shameless self-promotion, but if you know the Journal Rattle, on tax day, April 15th, this will be on the Rattle website. This one's called the Robert Frost Kickball Club. In my soul grows a small soul. In my small soul, one smaller. Infinite repetition, non-stop loop. Each beanstalk is an end to fight. Inside my teeth lie small baby teeth. Inside those, infinitesimal baby teeth. I reject each grim oath whispered by gypsies and western mats. I fumigate rotting futons. If he were still kicking, I'd kick If he were still kicking, I'd kick Robert Frost's ass at kickball. I'd pop the ball, restitch it with shards of marble. I'd talk shit and run up the motherfucking score. The game within the game. I hereby donate my bargain bin Kama Sutra handbook to a humanoid giraffe named Koan. Koan rocks black glasses and a Kangol. Inside Koan's neck is a neck. Inside that neck, a deep well. Neck flex. How ponderous the axons fired into the cortex inside his cortex. Over there's a barbecue, the smoky pavilion. Over there, the gypsy fan club. And over here, is Robbie Boy pinned with a participation ribbon. He pouts and kicks and rock. His soul slips off its helix. Gyres widen around the bases, and poetry trophy wives applaud. Inside the MVP is an MVP. DJ Cohen is spun out like his vinyl till it skips. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Next we have the coordinator of the Hudson River Poets, a long-term friend of CAP's, Mona Toscano. There you are.
Today would have been my father's 95th birthday. Thank you, Dad, for everything. And thanks, Cap, for still being here for us in such a wonderful way, in such a wonderful space. Yoga. Everyone take a deep breath. A yogic breath. The exhale should be longer than the inhale. I'm sure some of you have heard this before. I hope you like it better. Those of you who haven't heard it, I hope you like it too. It's for Women's History Month. It's a brag. The Phoenix. Post-immolation. What leads you to believe I rose immediately from the ashes? After the blazing, I was faint. I suffered shell shock. I tried to lift my head, but it was smoking. When I tried to make a peep, I was all choked up inside. My eyes blinked, not in disbelief, but in reflex action. Before I shook the cinders off, I meditated a minute or three. I listened to the song of inner silence. Anon I blinked again. I hummed along with an internal melody, but sang my reincarnate life. I could chirp once more. Quietly I unfurled my singed wings, feather by feather. My down continued to ember. Then, in a cosmic instant, I alighted. My wake was a stellar delight. It lit a starry trail of evolutionary hypothesis. To this day, my symbology soars. My every myth is fact. Her story. Hesiod, the foremost Greek poet, claimed my recovery was quick, a lunar month to be exact. History doesn't say whether he calculated from his foremother's matrix calendar or his forefather's less than 13-month classic annual cycle. Egyptian law saw extenuating circumstances. To the quill they counted, complete production took 2,589 years and 17 days. Admittedly, I caused some cultures to think time was important. The Etruscans spoke to my leaving a smoldering lake of fire. Well, while I know when I asked why me, I was not angry, the Chinese claimed otherwise. They said it was rage, fiery rage at being a woman that set me aflame. Given that there was such intensity to my labor, they devised I had to be a woman. They color-coded my anguish, womb red to golden ash afterbirth aura. In the beauty of my blazing, I gave the sun the idea to burn eternally. Lightning opted for a flash stint. On uplift, I burst into song. I gave my trill to the nightingale as a gift. In so doing, I recognized my self-insemination, my genuine self-genesis. Yes, I was my own generatrix. I became one complete bird alone, one, holy one. Anti-immolation. There are some who will say that I did it on purpose, setting myself on fire, self-destructing. A woman who claims she was a friend before might offer she heard, quote, the bird brain say I wanted suicide, end quote. But those who knew me Those who knew me well, those who were true friends, would have to admit, while I had burning passions, I was not masochistic. Granted, of course, there are those who will attest that tendency is inherent in woman. As for doing it on purpose, I never would have dreamed my legacy. In the cardinal act, not all heroes are aware of their courage. Admittedly, there are some negatives that could be brought slick to the fore. How I kept putting off to learn to dance, felt I was too flighty, and never could learn to curtsy, to bow in time to the music. If forced to disenchant me further, an astute soul might add, I didn't fully appreciate I could fly. I was too caught up with the finesse involved with releasing my talons, with their brittle crescent curve. In this, I was like the crow, enamored with her core, yet unaware, in a certain light, the waxy membrane of her feathers catches velvet rainbows.
Bravo.
Perhaps you will go to the Hudson River Poets on the first Thursday of the month at the Newburgh Library, 7 p.m. And check out what's cooking there. It's a wonderful, wonderful series. All right. Now we have a new name on the list. Let's welcome Valeria Licora. Welcome.
Good evening. It's an honor to be here. You are all very talented poets, and you've entertained me immensely tonight. Okay, I wrote some poetry today, and I'm happy to share it with you. Okay. Hello, Grace. I see you shine in my blossoming earlobes. I see you. I see you tasted, holding, patient, with tea, brewed in an old English tweed suit, young in style, receiving and giving abundantly. Troubadours will never taste the sensations found in finding the fingers of the Creator, blessed, and winning the game of chess, or is it the game of life? In the tabernacle of my daydreams, I find you with me, wildly roaring, in harmony and adored by me, adored by you, and creating space, creating sounds and poems every day, every day, every day, every day. Never in the same way, heartbreaking. They may find themselves lost in Midtown in a coffee ashtray, sculpting the words into the art of life. They vibrate, the pineapples on my table. One by one, each letter captures a moment and reflects you gracefully. Apollo and the three Graces. As the planets of Jupiter enters the sons of Leos, the peacocks await in the night, await for me, like our ionosphere, magic, natural, like Ural, like my desires to ride a Ural. It takes my breath away, as you do.
Valeria Licora. Welcome to Calling All Poets. All right. Well, that's how I normally sound. All right.
Yeah.
It is. Trust me.
That's how you sounded last month.
Oh, you damn right. I couldn't even whisper. I have this, I don't know what this is lately. I keep getting laryngitis. I don't understand it. And please, don't say it's mononucleosis, because it's not. I gave up smoking the Kents in 1957. All right? 6 packs a day. All right, next we have now this cat has been with Calling All Poets for many years. I first met him in Bayonne, New Jersey in 1963. He is Christopher Wheeling.
63. I look good for my age, right?
Or wasn't it March of 62?
You were just Weezers.
That's the beats the hell out of me.
That's the stain on your father's sheet. You're still insane.
Yeah, that's close to the truth.
in your mother's eye.
Okay. I broke it.
It went stiff.
Get that electronic
Okay. All humor aside, a couple of things from the notebook, works in progress, I guess you could say. No titles at this point, so don't ask for them because I'm not going to give them to you. Has Circe judged them unfit for their shapes? They took little notice of the change. Still grubbing at the feet of beauty, their language little more than incomprehensible grunts. For the mythology fans in the crowd, okay. And this one's a little darker. When one has worshipped at the altar of a lost cause for a decade, it is permissible to let hope die. Bid adieu to the last thread, the final tether bearing the weight of that clinging, almost life. Let the fates do as they may, and grant merciful rest to the penitent weary. Thank you.
Now let's keep up with the cheerful poetry. Next we have, wait a minute, is it possible? Larry, can you come out from behind the sable stage captain? Larry Sanson! There he is. You'll always be poet. He exists.
Thanks. I still feel that way after I read this. This is a new one, kind of a fun one. It's called The Great Flyover. Good morning, and thank you for flying with us. We'd like a few minutes to direct your attention to the front of the cabin so we may make you better acquainted with your own mortality. If you examine the backs of the seats in front of you, you will find no information of any use to you whatsoever. You will find your eventual exit by the front of the cabin at a predestined time and place that you cannot possibly predict. Alternate exits are available to the left and the right in the event of accidental or premature departures. The entrance in the back of the cabin that you used for boarding cannot be utilized as a return exit, although that hasn't stopped many of you from trying. During the flight, to ensure your own safety and well-being, or just because, you will be told where you must sit, when you may be permitted to roam freely, and when you must be constrained. There will be occasional warning lights that help tell you when. In between, there will be peanuts. In the event of a sudden and drastic change in pressure, help might come from above. In the event of an emergency, you should assist children and the elderly first, even though most of you probably won't. Pillows, blankets, and other minor soft comforts are available on a first-come, first-served basis. Intoxicants are also available. You're probably going to want some of those. There's a considerable charge for these, but the music is mostly free. This is a non-smoking flight, or at least that is what you told your doctor when he asked. If we find ourselves sinking in deep water, you can locate devices to help you float if you search hard enough. These will keep you aimlessly adrift for days, if not months or years. Most likely, help will not come. So you should try to keep your head held high as long as you can, breathe deeply between waves, and swim for dry land at your earliest convenience. Please keep an eye out for sharks. There will definitely be sharks. Once again, we'd like to thank you for traveling with us, although none of you had any real choice in the matter. We do appreciate you being here with us today, and yesterday, and maybe tomorrow. Despite the fact that by now we all know better, we hope you have an enjoyable and comfortable flight. This one is one of the Beacon Main Street poems that I'm working on. It's inspired by Beacon Creamery, and it's called Banana Split. A shop window cafe, a soft candle-lit stage, where the young dining couple's brief drama is played. The dessert has been served 2 banana sundaes, once consumed, marking doom for their sweet brief romance. When the meal is complete, she is going to leave. He will be let down gently, but quite undeceived. And despite her kind efforts to not let him see, he is quite well aware of his sad circumstance. Though he knows it must end, he still seeks to extend these fleet moments. He holds her as more than just friends. So he pokes his confection. He sections and blends. By some chance, this transfigurement may change their fate. As the scoop's combination, once separate and savored, comes loose and reduces, replacing their nature with rude, goopy stew, soft, dissolved, and distasteful. The vibrant, bright dyes combined gray on his plate. The whipped cream, once pure white, teased to tempting delights, now deflates without substance to hold it on high, while its cherry peak beacon, whose brightness enticed, seems contrived and so stilted, now wilted and stale. Still, he smooths and he smears, syrup running like tears, and she shifts in her seat, for the check has appeared. He stares down at his blob, his mind melting, unclear, and just can't understand why the whole affair failed. Thank you.
Oh, you don't have to go behind the screen, right? That's Larry. He's our tech. What do we call him? Tech czar. Before I introduce our last reader for the evening, I just want to. Next month, April, is National Poetry Month, and on Friday, April 3rd, we will have David Messinino and Mary Makovsky with us. And our streaming guest will be coming from Albany, a friend of Dan's, Mr. Adam Tedesco. Will be with us. So I want to thank you all. I want to thank you all for coming. I want to say again thank you to Dan and Matt. Hey, let's bring on our last reader, Mr. Robert Milton.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Jim, Glenn, and Larry, whatever you are. All right. I will. I shall. I must. I'll give you just a few of these because time is of essence. On the 1st of March, Howard Nemerov, born 1920, Richard Wilbur, 1921, Robert Lowell, 1917, Robert Haas, 1941, Ralph Ellison, 1914, Friedrich Chopin, 1810, and what? Right. Yes, he is. Glenn Miller, we still don't know where he is, born in 1904. On the 2nd, Kurt Weill, 1900, all you Pisces out there. On the 3rd, Edmund Waller, 1607 in Britain. Thomas Otway, also in Britain, in 1652. Edward Thomas, 1878 in Britain, and here in the colonies, in the Virginia Company, we have James Merrill, 1926. On the 4th, where's Mike? Antonio Vivaldi, born in 1678. Dr. Williams did die. William Carlos Williams died in 63. Richard Church, a great British poet, died in 1972. D.H. Lawrence died of the consumption in 1930. Guy Wetmore Carroll, well, what a name for a poet, born in 1873. On the 5th, Native American poet Leslie Marmon Silko, born in 1948, and you should read her. Anna Akhmatova died in 1966 on the 5th. And today, Gabriel Garcia Marquez, born in 1928. Elizabeth Barrett Browning, born in 1806. Michelangelo, born in 1475. They were there. And Ring Lardner, you ever read him? Born in 1885. Just a few. Who? I forgot. Hayden Wayne, born on the 2nd. The 2nd of March. The 2nd. All right, I'm sorry about that. Now look, I am not Garrison Keillor.
It was a great moment for me to say, yeah, so was my mother.
I don't even look like Garrison Keillor. All right. So here's one, because you all have read Edmund Waller. Go, lovely rose. Go, lovely rose, tell her that wastes her time and me, that now she knows when I resemble her to thee, how sweet and fair she seems to be. Tell her that's young and shuns to have her graces spied, that hadst thou sprung in deserts where no men abide, thou must have uncommended died. Small is the worth of beauty from the light retired. Bid her come forth, suffer herself to be desired, and not blush so to be admired. Then die, that she, the common fate of all things rare, may read in thee how small a part of time they share, that are so wondrous sweet and fair. Edmund Waller. Read the classics. All right. There was a, I don't know, I guess he was probably diagnosable, most of the composers were, but Mozart had this particular thing about people slamming doors. It upset him, and he would fly into rages about that. His wife, she was called Constance, and his sister, Anna Maria, her nickname was Nonoro. All right. Music, in even the most terrible situations, must never offend the ear, but always remain a source of pleasure. That's Mozart. Slamming doors around Mozart. It didn't just jar him, it changed the order of his day. Snow followed him home. The tavern's glow could not keep the maestro content with beer and flesh autographs, not because of sonatas or string quartets, a chamber with a high fire in an adulterous hearth, blankets and sweets, perfumes not of Constance. He shook many a proper hand, lodge affiliates, patrons notwithstanding. He retreated to the room where inspiration spread her seraphic wings, fingers inked in proof of scores, magnum opus. Tossed the ink pot in the fire, ripped the parchment to minutiae. Crude slangs of outrageous fortune, genteel salon talk forgotten. The doors, the windows and shutters to be closed gently, the touch of a child upon the knob, a breeze across his desk and brow to rouse him from sleep. No, a bull goring, a horse kicking, a cart crashing into a tree, slamming doors to destroy the quintet, the love letter, the quartet painted in mere hours before dinner. She had but one chance left, or the sack and home to penance at the peasant's cottage. Herr Mozart tore the curtain down, his face contorted in a madness only the muse could sanction. Constance? Nay. Nonoro? Yes. His offended ears covered in a fit of childish rage. His older sister was over 100 miles away. Mozart's idol had become another's idol. She was a mother. Salzburg could not hold the genius, this youngest of 7, father of 6. He had the door left open. Snow covered the entrance hall, the snows of quiet December. Thank you. Jim Eve, you want to... Jim has something to say.
Good night. I want to thank everybody for coming out, and as always, we appreciate your continuous support. Everybody get home safely tonight, and we'll see you next month. Have a good night. Thanks for coming, everybody.